So, hello everyone, and welcome back to our Python course for beginners. I hope all of you are doing great and practicing the concepts from our previous lectures. So, today we are starting lecture number 9, and our topic is lists in Python. In the previous lecture, we learned about strings, which are used to store text data. But what if we want to store multiple values together in a single variable? For example, imagine you want to store the marks of 5 students, the name of your friends, or the prices of different products. Creating a separate variable for every value is not a good idea because it makes the program longer and harder to manage. This is where lists become very useful. A list allows us to store multiple values in a single variable. It is one of the most important and most frequently used data structures in Python. In the lecture, we will learn what are lists, how they are created, and list indexing and slicing. Now, then we learn about different list operations, some common list methods, nested lists, and some real life example and practice program. And finally, we do a short quiz to test your understanding. Now, by the end of this lecture, you will be able to use lists confidently in your own Python program. So, without wasting time, let's begin our journey into lists in Python. Moving on to the next slide. So first, see a small recap of the previous lecture, which was strings in Python. Okay, now moving on to the next slide. So before we start learning lists, let's quickly revise what we learned in our previous lecture about the strings, because revision helps us remember important concepts and make it easier to understand today's topic, because lists are somehow related with the string. First, we learn what are the strings. A string is a sequence of characters enclosed inside a single quote, double quote, or triple quotes. Strings are mainly used to store text data such as names, messages, address, and email. The second one is how we can create a string. We saw that Python allows us to create strings using single, double, or triple quotes. Triple quotes are especially useful for writing multi-line text. Now, after that, we studied the string indexing. We learned that every character in a string has its own index number. Positive indexing starts from left with 0, while negative indexing starts with right with -1. Then we learn about the string slicing. Slicing helps us extract a specific part of a string using that syntax start, colon stop, colon step. This one. Remember that the start index is included but the stop index is excluded. Next, we learn about string operators such as plus, multiplication, in, not in, and comparison operators. These operators help us join strings, repeat them, check membership, or compare to a string. We also learn many useful string methods like upper, lower, strip, replace, find, split, count, and several others. These built-in methods make working with strings much easier. Finally, we concluded our topic with escape characters like \n, \t, double, and many more. These special characters help us form text and include special symbols inside strings. Now that you have refreshed your memory and the important concept of the string, now you are ready to move on to next exciting topic, which is lists in Python. So moving on to our next topic, let's get started. Now let's understand one of the most important data type in Python, which is the lists. Imagine you have a store. Imagine if you have to store the name of 50 students. So creating 50 separate variables would be difficult and confusing. Instead, we can store all those values in a single list. That's why lists are so useful in Python. Now, let's look at the definition. What is list? A list in Python is an ordered collection of items. It is written inside square brackets and each item is separated by a comma. The word ordered means that Python remembers the position of every item in the list. A list can contain numbers, strings, Boolean values, or even different data types together. Now, let's look at these given examples. So, the first example is this fruits equal to here you can see. So, this is a list of strings. Now, the second example is the list of numbers. And this here you can see a string, integer, float value, boolean value. This is called a mixed list because it contains different data types. Python allows this. This is okay in Python. It will not give you error. Now look here on the slide here why lists are used. To store multiple values in a single variable, lists are used. So it's also used to keep items in a specific order. It uses to access, modify, add, or remove items easily. Lists are very useful when working with a group of related data. For example, instead of creating separate variables for every student's marks, we can store all marks inside one list. Now, here you can see a list containing the values 10, 20, 30, 40. Every element has its own index. Like the number 10 has index 0, number 20 has index 1, number 30 has index 2, number 40 has index 3. We use these index to access individual elements from a list. We will learn list indexing in detail in the next topic. Lists are used almost everywhere in the programming. For example, a list of student names, a list of student marks, a shopping list containing milk, bread, egg, apple, a list of days of the week. Here you can see the example of like student names, and here is a list marks of student, and here similarly you can see four examples here. Whenever we need to store a collection of related items, lists are usually the best choice. The key point to remember in the list is that the list helps us organize and manage multiple pieces of information efficiently. You can think of a list as a container that can hold many items together. Now, in the next slide, we will learn how to create lists in Python and see different ways of writing them with practical examples. Thank you. Hope this slide is clear to you. And we are moving on to our next slide. If you have on any problem, you can go back in the lecture and you can pause it and then you can watch it. So moving on to our next slide. Now that we know what a list is, let's learn how to create lists in Python. So creating a list is very simple. We just place the items inside the square brackets and separate each item with a comma. Now you can see here are further different types of list. The first one is empty list. An empty list does not contain any items. It is useful when we want to create a list now and add values later in the program. The syntax is very simple. You can just write empty list like this. You can just write empty list is equal to square brackets. Right now the list is empty, but we can add items to it whenever we need. Now the second one is list with numbers. A list can also store numbers such as integers or decimal values. For example, you can see now 10, 20, 30, 40. You can write it as list in numbers equal to this 10, 20, 30, 40. Here the list contains four integer values which you can perform many operations on the numbers later, like calculating the sum of them or finding the maximum value, sorting them, and much more. Now the third one is list with strings. Lists are commonly used to store text values as well. Now here in the example, you can see there are strings written inside the quotation mark. This type of list is useful for storing names, subjects, cities, products, and many other text-based data. Now, the last one is the mixed data types. One interesting feature of Python is that a single list can contain different types of data. For example, you can see here info contains Siddharth, which is a string, 20, which is an integer, 5.9, which is a float value, and true, which is a boolean value. This is called a mixed list. Now you can see different examples of list which which I told you but here empty list and list of number and many more. Now here you can see nested list means list under list. Don't worry if it looks new, we will learn nested list in detail later in the lecture. You don't have to panic about the nested list because there is a proper slide for nested lists in this lecture. Now, there are three important things you should remember about Python lists. First, lists are ordered, which means Python remembers the position of every element. Second, lists are immutable, meaning we can change, add, or remove elements after creating the list. Lists are mutable, not immutable. Lists are mutable. Third, third, list allow duplicate value so the same item can appear multiple times. Now, remember that every list in Python is created using square brackets. Items are separated by commas, and a list can store number, strings, mixed data types, or even other lists. In next slide, we will learn the list indexing and slicing, where we will see how to access individual elements from a list using their index number. Now, moving on to our next slide. Hope this is clear to you. Now, so that you have learned about how to create strings, and now in this slide, we are going to learn two very important concepts together: list indexing and list slicing. So, indexing helps us access a single element, while slicing helps us access multiple elements from a list. Both are inter both are interconnected. Without indexing, you can't learn about slicing. Now, let's start with list indexing. Every item inside a list has its own index number. Python uses this index number to identify each element. For example, we have this list. Wait a minute. Ah, for example, we have this list: fruits equal to apple, banana, mango, grapes. The indexes are: the index of apple is 0, the index of banana is 1, the index of mango is 2, and the index of grapes is 3. Notice that the indexing always starts from 0, not 1. If we write fruits 0, the Python gives output apple. If we write fruits 1, Python will give output banana. Similarly, fruit 2 returns mango and fruit 3 return grapes. So whenever we need only one element from a list, we use its index number. Now you can see here negative indexing. You can see it's exactly same as the string indexing. Now Python also support negative indexing. I also told you this in the strings. Instead of counting from left, it counts from right. The last element always has index -1. For our example, grapes. Grapes have the index -1, mango have -2, banana is -3, and apple has -4. Now you can see here fruits. Index -1 give grapes, similarly -2 gives mango, -3 banana, -4 gives apple. Negative indexing is very useful when we want to access elements from the end of a list. Now, always remember, positive, in, positive indexing is from left to right and negative indexing is from right to left. Now, let's move to our next topic, which is slicing of the list. Sometimes we don't need just one element, instead we want a portion of the list. For that, we use slicing. So the syntax is, here you can see the syntax. Let's understand each part. So start where slicing begins and stop is the part where slicing ends but the index is not included, and step is how many positions Python should move each time. The default value of a step is 1. Now see the example given here. Suppose we have numbers equal to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and their indexes are like this: 10 for 0, 21. Similarly, for all the here you can see indexing is given. Now you can see numbers 1, 4. It will give output 20, 30, 40 because it starts from index 1. You can it will start from here and it will go. It is written 4, but remember the stop इंडेक्स इज नेवर स्टॉप स्टॉप वाला इंडेक्स कभी लिया नहीं जाता है, इसीलिए ये थर्ड इंडेक्स लिया जाएगा. So the output will be only 20, 30 and 40. Now the second example, number, here you can see gap, here is nothing, colon and then 3. So the output will be 20, 10, 20 and 30. Since no start value is given, Python starts from index 0. Similarly, in the third example, there is no stop value is given. So when a stop is omitted, Python goes till the end of the list. Therefore, it started from 3 and it is till the last of the list. Now, in the fourth example, you can see there are double columns. Both are empty. Here the step is 2. So Python skips every alternate element and it will print 10, 30, 50. You can see every alternate element is skipped. Like you can see 20 is skipped, 40 is skipped, 50 is skipped. Now the fifth example, Python starts at index 1, moves 2 steps each time and stops before index 5. In the sixth example, here you can see colon -1. This is used to reverse the entire list. Like in the string, this was used to reverse the entire string in the list. Similarly, it is used to reverse the entire list. This is one of the easiest way to reverse a list in Python. Now, what's the difference between them? Before moving ahead, there is a simple difference. Indexing is used to access one element while slicing is used to access multiple elements or a part of the list. If you remember this difference, you will never confuse between indexing and slicing. Now, every list element has an index number. Positive indexing starts from the left while negative indexing starts from the right. Slicing helps us extract multiple elements using the syntax start to stop step, start colon stop colon step. And remember that the stop index is always excluded. In the next slide, we will learn about list operations where we will see how to add, combine, repeat, and check elements in a list. Hope this slide is clear to you. Now, moving on to our next slide. Thank you. So now that we know how to create lists, let's learn how to perform different operations on them. Now Python provides several operators that make working with list very easy. In the In the given slide, we will learn four commonly used lists. First one is concatenation, second is repetition, third one is in, and the second one is not in. Now, the first one, concatenation. The first operation is concatenation, which uses the plus operator. It simply means joining two or more lists together. Here, here you can see example of concatenation. Like list 1 has 1, 2, 3 and list 2 has 4, 5. So basically it takes 1, 2, 3 and it's take 4, 5. It concatenate and it's give one new list which contains the both values from list 1 and list 2. Here both lists are combined and creates a new list. Remember the original list remain unchanged. Now the second operation is repetition, which uses the asterisk operator. It repeats the elements of a list multiple times. Like here you can see example nums is equal to 10, 20 and nums into 3. So it will give you this list written 3 times in a single list. And here you can see we have multiplied this list by 3. So the entire list is multiplied by 3. Sorry, entire list is repeated by 3 times. Now the third one is the membership operator or in. It checks whether a particular item exists inside the list or not. For example, you can see here is a list of fruits which contains apple, banana, mango. Here we check mango in fruits. Is then it will check is is in the list fruits. So yes, mango is in the list fruit. Then it will give you true. Orange in fruits. It will check. Python will check is orange available in the list of fruits. So orange will is not available. So it will give you false. So whenever we want to check whether an element exists, we use the in or membership operator. Now the last one is non-membership operator. The opposite of in is not in. It checks whether an element is not present in the list. For example, same example by the way of the list fruits. Now it will check orange not in fruits. So orange is not in the list fruits, so it will give true. Apple not in fruits. So apple is present in fruits. You can see here, so it will give the value false. Now let's do a quick comparison. So concatenation helps to join two lists. Repetition helps to repeat a list. Membership checks whether an item exists or not. While non-membership checks whether an item does not exist. There are some of the most commonly used list operations in Python. These are, now remember, use plus to combine list, asterisk to repeat line, in to check whether element is present, and not in to check whether it is absent. Mastering these basic operations will make working with lists much easier. Now in the next slide, we will explore common list methods where we will learn how to add, remove, search and modify list elements using built-in Python methods. Now, so far we have learned what lists are, how to create them, and some basic operations. Now let's explore some of the most commonly used list methods in Python. These built-in methods help us add, insert, extend, remove, and delete elements from lists easily. Now here you can see some five common methods. Now first I start with this append. The first method is append. It adds one item at the end of the list. For example, you can see here a list of fruits which contains apple and banana. Fruit dot append mango, then print fruits, so the output will be apple, banana, then the word that is mango is added at the last of the string. Remember, append always adds only one element at the last position. Now, the next is the insert. It allows us to insert an item at a specific index. Its syntax is list.insert and after that index and then the item you want to insert. Now you can see the example here. A list of each given fruits equal to apple, mango. Then the insert method is used to and here we want to insert banana at index 1. So the output will be apple, banana, mango. Here you can see that banana is inserted at the index 1. Now the third one is the extend method. It is used to add all elements of another list into the current list. You can see the example of extend. Again, the list of fruits is given. Then another list of more fruits is given. Then the extend function is used, extend method. And in the last print fruits. So unlike append, which add only one item, extend adds multiple items from another list. This is the one of the most common interpretation. Remember the difference that append adds only one item while extend adds multiple items. Like you can see, it adds the items from the another list. Now the remove function. It used to delete an element by its value. You can see the example. Fruit is given and apple, banana, mango are given. Now the remove method is used to remove the banana. Now in the output you can see that banana is removed from its first occurrence. If the value is not found, Python will generate an error. Now the last method on the slide is pop method. It removes an element using its index. Here you can see that apple, banana, mango. Then pop method is used and here it's written 1. So banana is at index 1. So here banana is removed because it was at index 1. So Python automatically removes, so it is an important point that Python automatically removes the last element of the list if you don't put any index in the pop. Now let's quickly know about this. Append used to add one item at an insert, add one item at a specific position. Extend, add all items from another list. Remove, removes an item by its value. Pop removes an item using its index and also removed item. Now these 5 methods are among the most frequently used list methods in Python. If you understand these, you will be able to perform most basic list operation with confidence. In the next slide, we will continue learning some more useful list methods that make working with lists even more powerful. Now, hope you will understand this. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, here are some more list methods. In the previous slide, we learned methods like append, insert, extend, remove, and pop. Now, let's continue with some more useful list methods that help us sort, search, count, and many more. So, the first one is sort. It arranges the element of a list in ascending order by default. Like here in example, you can see that the list of nums contains 4 values 3, 1, 4, 2. The sort method is used and it sorted the whole list and it gives a new list with 1, 2, 3, 4. So the numbers are now arranged from smallest to largest. Now, if you want to sort the number in descending order, you don't have to do anything. You just have to, after the, like here, nums dot sort and nothing is written. After num dot sort, you just have to write reverse is equal to true. Then the numbers will be printed in descending order. Now, second is reverse. It simply reverses the order of element. Now see the example. Wait. Now see the example. Nums list is given and 1, 2, 3, 4 are in the list. Now the reverse method is used and the whole list is reversed and a new list is created. So sort arranges the value and reverse like opposites the whole list. Now reverse does not sort the list, it reverses the list. Now the next is the count method that tells us how many times an item appears in a list. For example, you can see the list of fruits is here and you can see in the fruits there are four values: apple, banana, apple and mango. You can clearly see apple appears two times. Now the count method is used and inside it is checking how many times apple appeared. So it will check in the list how many times apple is appearing. Apple is appearing two times, so it will give the output 2. This method is useful whenever you want to count duplicate values. Now the fourth method is the index. It returns the position of the first occurrence of an item. Now here you can see fruits equal to apple, banana, mango. Now the index will see at which index in the list banana is occurring. So it is occurring at index number 1, 0, 1, 2. So it is occurring at 1, so it will give output 1. If there are only 3 elements, then indexing will be 0, 1 and 2, and if the element does not exist, Python will generate a value error. Now the fifth one is clear. Oh, sorry. By mistake, it's written here Tinder, but it will be clear. Let me. It will be clear. Sorry, it removes all elements from the list. You can clearly see here, list is given and clear method is used. The whole list is cleared. The empty square brackets mean the list is now empty. The list still exists, but it contains no element. Now, the last method on this slide is copy. It creates a new copy of an existing list. Now, like here you can see a list name original has 1 to 3, and then the copy method is used, then append method is used. Now, the output will be, first you can see the original list, and notice the original list remains same and unchanged. Only the copied list receives the new value. This is useful whenever you want to work on a list without modifying the original one. Let's quickly revise today's method. Sort helps to arrange elements in order. Reverse helps to reverses the list. Count counts how many times an item appears. Index returns position of an item. Clear removes all elements. And copy creates a duplicate list. These methods save times and make list handling much easier. As you practice Python, you will use methods like sort, count, index, and copy. Try running each example yourself and observe how the list changes after every method. In the next slide, we will learn about nested lists where one list can contain another list. Hope this is clear to you. Now moving on to the next slide. Now, so that we have learned how to create list, access element, perform operation, and use list methods. Now let's learn about nested lists, which are useful when we need to store data in rows and columns just like a table. So what is a nested list? A nested list is simply list inside another list. In other words, one list can contain multiple smaller lists as its element. This helps us organize related data in a structured way. For example, you can see here this matrix. Here the outer list contains three inner lists. Each linear inner list represents one row. So instead of storing individual values separately, we group them together. Now let's see list inside another list. Let's look at this section. A nested list is created by placing one list inside other. It can even multiple level of nesting. Sorry. Here I told you this example. The like row 1 contains 1, 2, 3, row 2 contains 4, 5, 6, row 3 contains 7, 8, 9. You can think of it exactly like an Excel sheet or a table. The outer lists store the rows while each inner list store values in that row. Now let's learn how to access values from a list. Like a normal list, we use two indexes. The syntax is this: matrix, row and column. The first index selects the row, the second index selects the column inside the row. For example, matrix 0, 0. It points to row 0, column 0, and the value will be 1. Like row 0, column 0, and the value will be 1. Now you see this matrix 0, 2. The output will be 3. This row and this column, the output will be 3. Similarly, all these examples are given here. Now let's move to see some real life example. Here first read this to-do list. Now each inner list store one student information. The first value is the student names, the remaining values are marks. Now student 0, 0. It will give the output Siddharth because it is the first student's name. Next marks. Next students 1, 3. It will give output 81. This is Rahul third subject's marks. Similarly, student 2, 3 give output 95 because this is Aisa's third subject marks. This is a great way to store records like students, employees or products. Now 3D nested lists. Nested lists can also have more than two levels. For example, data is equal to, you can see this example. This is called a 3D list. Here the first level may represent department, second level student and the third level marks. Like you don't have ज़्यादा इतना सोचना मत इसके बारे में, इतना ये अभी जरूरी नहीं है बेसिक में, बस देख लो. लाइक डेटा 010 देगा आउटपुट 90 and data 101 आउटपुट देगा 75. Although 3D lists are less common for beginners, it's good to know that Python allows multiple levels of nesting. Now, where are nested lists used? Nested lists are very useful in real-world programming. Some common examples are student records, mark sheets, sitting arrangements, timetables, matrices in mathematics, game boards. Whenever data is arranged in a row or column, nested lists are a great choice. Let's quickly revise some key points. A nested list is a list inside another list. The outer list contains multiple inner lists. We use two indexes to access data. First index selects the row, second index selects the column. Nested lists are widely used for table, matrices, and structured data. Practice creating your own nested list with name, marks, or products. The more you practice, the easier nested list will become. Now, in the next slide, we will work on real-life list example and practice program to apply everything we have learned so far. Hope all the topics in the lecture are clear to you. If anything is not clear to you, you can go back, pause the lecture, and then you can watch again. Now, moving on to our next slide. Now that we understand lists and their method, let's solve a simple real-life problem. Imagine you are creating a small program for a school. Instead of storing marks separately, we can store all the marks inside a single list, like you can see here. Each number represents one student mark. Now let's perform some useful operations. So we have to find highest marks, lowest marks, and average. So for finding highest marks, the max function automatically finds the largest value in the list. Like you can see that using the max functions, you can find the highest marks, which is 92. Now, lowest marks is found by the min functions. It automatically found the lowest number in the list. And so the lowest is 78. Now, finding the average. Let's calculate the average marks. Here, the sum adds the numbers in the list and then counts how many items are in the list. So total marks are divided by the total number of students. So average will give you 86.6. This is one of the most common real-world use of Python program. So let's quickly revise. Max is used to find the highest value, min is used to find the lowest value, sum is used to add all the numbers, and len is used to count total length of the elements. Together, these functions help us to analyze data very easily. Now, let's solve simple practice program. The task is print all fruit stored in a list. Our list is this. To print every item, we use a for loop. The loop visits one item at a time for fruits in fruits. So the loop visits one item at a time and then it will print the fruits name. First it prints apple, then it banana, and finally mango. So this is the easiest way to display every element in a list. Now let's add a new element to list. We start with number. Second example, how to add a new number to list and then print. So a list of number is given 10, 20, 30, and then append function is used. Append method is used and we have to append the number 40. Then in the output the 40 is added after 30. This is one of the most frequently used list method in Python. Try chart, try changing the values yourself. For example, add another fruit or change the marks or insert more number to the list. Because the more you experiment, the better you will understand how lists work. Today's examples showed how lists are used in real-life program. Using built-in functions like max, min, sum, and len, we can easily analyze data, and with loops and methods like append, we can process and update lists efficiently. Keep practicing this example on your own. The small practice programs like this build a strong foundation for larger Python project. In the next slide, we will test our understanding with a quiz on Python lists. Hope these examples are clear to you. Keep practicing. Moving on to our next slide. So now we have completed all the important topics of Python lists. Let's check how much you have learned with quick quiz. I'll read each question, give you a few seconds to think, and then we will discuss the correct answer. So the first question is, what is a list? An ordered collection of items, unordered collection of unique items, single value stored in variable, or function used to print. Think or pause the video and then answer. The correct option will be option A. List is an ordered collection of items that can store multiple or a single variable. Now the second question. Which method add an item to end of a list? Insert, add, append, or extend. Pause the video then answer. I hope that you have answered. The correct option is option number C. The append method always adds one new item at the end of the list. Third question. What is the difference between append and insert? Read the questions. Pause the video and read the questions. The correct option will be option number A. Append adds an item at the end, but insert allows us to place an item at any position we choose. Coming to the fourth question, how do you access the first element of a list? Options are available. You can see the options and then answer. The correct option is answer B. Python indexing always starts from 0. Coming on to our next question, which method removes and returns the last item? Remove, pop, delete, or clear? The correct option is option number B, pop. It helps to remove and return the last element of the list. Question number 6. Which method counts the number of times an item appears in list? count, find, index or search. Hope you have answered the question. The answer is count. 7. What will be the output of this? Options are given to you. So the correct option is option B, because indexing starts from 0. Index 1 refers to the second element. Now the last question. Which of the following will clear all the items from list? Remove, clear, empty or del not list. So the correct option is list dot clear. This method removes all elements and leaves an empty list. Now calculate your score. If you have answered 8 out of 8, excellent. If you have answered 6 or 7, great job. Or if you have answered less than 4 or 5, don't worry, give us the lecture and practice the program. You will improve quickly. Now, congratulations on completing the quiz. If you answered most of the question correctly, you are ready to start solving list-based programming problems. And if you made a few mistakes, that's completely normal. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn new. In the next and final slide, we will summarize today's lecture and wrap up the session with a thank you message. Moving on to our next slide. Thank you everyone for watching this lecture. Today we learned one of the most important data structures in Python, which is list. Now let's quickly revise what we covered today. We learned what lists are and why they are useful. We created different types of lists. We understood list indexing and list slicing, explored list operators, practiced many useful list methods. We also learned about nested lists, solved some examples, test our knowledge with a quiz. That's a lot of learning in a lecture. Remember, programming is a practical skill. The more you write code, the more confident you become. So after this lecture, open your VS Code and try creating your own list. Experiment with different methods, add new values, remove items, sort the list, and create your own small program. Making mistake while practicing is completely normal. Every error teaches you something new and helps you become a better programmer. If you enjoyed this lecture, don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. So don't miss the upcoming Python lectures. I hope that you have learned all this lecture. So in our next lecture, we will continue our Python journey with another exciting topic and build on everything we have learned so far. Thank you once again for your time and support. Keep practicing, keep learning, and keep coding. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.